The night the silence broke, the true story of the Clutter family murders Kansas. 1959 Holcomb, Kansas, was the kind of place where people slept with their doors unlocked. A farming town so quiet that even the dogs knew the sound of every truck on the road. The Clutter family Herb, Bonnie, and their two teenage children. Nancy and Kenyon were pillars of that small community, successful, kind, and trusted. No enemies, no secrets. Just an ordinary American family living an honest life. But on the night of November 15th, 1959, something unimaginable entered their home. A crime with no motive. A first. To ex-convicts Richard, Dick Hickok, and Perry, Smith had heard a rumor in prison that Herb Clutter kept a safe full of cash on his farm. They believed the story. They planned. And they drove hundreds of miles with a stolen shotgun and a hunting knife. They didn't know the rumor was false. There was no safe. There was no money. But when they realized that it was already too late and the night took a deadly turn. Inside the house, in the early hours of the morning, the killers crept silently through the Clutter home. One by one, they tied the family members, separated them, gagged them. The house was so quiet the killers could hear each other breathing. Nancy was found in her bedroom. Bonnie was tied and left helpless in her own room. Kenyon was taken down to the basement. Herb the father was bound and placed in the furnace room. No neighbors heard a thing. And by sunrise, all four family members were dead. Holcomb woke to a silence so cold it felt unnatural. Something was terribly wrong, and everyone sensed it before they even knew what happened. The discovery. When friends found the bodies, panic spread through town. Farmers double-checked locks they hadn't touched in years. Mothers pulled their children inside early. Fear drifted across the Kansas plains like a storm cloud. Who could do this? And why so fall people? Detectives arrived from across the state. But they found almost nothing. No fingerprints, no footprints, no clear motive, no suspects. It looked like a perfect crime. But it wasn't. The break in the case weeks passed with no arrests. Christmas lights went up in neighboring houses, but Holcomb stayed dark. Then a former prison inmate came forward. He told police that Hickok had talked about robbing the Clutter home over a year earlier after hearing about the supposed safe. It was the first real lead. From there, the investigation exploded. Detectives stole and check. They had past hotel, receipts, bus station, records, and eyewitnesses who remembered their strange behavior. Bit by bit, the trail tightened. The arrest on December 30th, 1959, detectives found the killers in a small rooming house in Las Vegas, Nevada. The officers moved quietly down the hallway. On Noked, the other two waited, hands near their weapons. Light footsteps shivered behind the door. Then Hickok opened it. He froze. Behind him, Perry Smith slowly raised his hands. The hunt was over. Both men were arrested without a shot being fired. Just as during questioning, their stories cracked. Then shattered. Eventually, the two men confessed in chilling detail. They admitted there was never a safe. They admitted the murders were unnecessary. They admitted the Clutters begged for their lives. In 1965, after years of trials and appeals, both men were executed by hanging at the Kansas State Penitentiary. Aftermath, the Clutter murders changed Holcomb forever. People locked their doors. Neighbors stopped trusting strangers. Some said the wind itself sounded different across the wheat fields afterward. The crime remains one of the most shocking family murders in U.S. history, and a haunting reminder that evil can walk into the most ordinary of homes on the most ordinary of nights.